Today we're starting Microsoft Excel, and we're going to look at the basics as it relates to entering data into Excel. We're going to show you how to clear cell contents. I'm going to show you how to insert built-in headers or footers. We're going to enter numbers into our spreadsheet. We're going to show you how to edit cells. I want to show you how to use AutoComplete to make a little less typing as you're doing your entry. The pick list also does this. And finally, we're going to end up talking about checking spelling in Microsoft Excel. For the first lesson, we're going to start Microsoft Excel. So I'm going to do that by clicking on the Start button. And I'm going to type in Microsoft Excel. I'm actually going to type in the term Excel, E-X-C-E-L. And we are going to start Microsoft Excel. Just like in Word, when Excel first starts off, we're going to create a blank workbook. In Excel, this is called a workbook instead of a document. So I now have my workbook open. Let's just take a quick look around the program. You will see some similar things. At the top, you will see what's called the title bar. The title bar has the name of the document as well as the name of the program. You will see a ribbon. Much of the same things that you saw in Word, you will see in the Excel ribbon. You're going to see the clipboard, copy, cut, and paste. You'll see the font group on the Home tab, very similar. You will see an alignment group instead of a paragraph group, and many of the same things that you did in Word will be the same here. And that's where the similarities end as far as the Home tab. You'll see a number group, a styles group, which does have some similarities with Word. Then you're going to see cells and editing. You will see an insert tab on the ribbon. That insert tab has some of the same items that you saw in Microsoft Word. For example, this is where you will see the opportunity to insert headers and footers, which we'll be talking about later. We can insert symbols, but many of the other things are different from Microsoft Word. Page layout is a similar tab, and it does have a few features that are a few new tabs that you're going to have to work with, and those are the formula tabs. We'll deal with these in later lessons. The data tab is new. Review is a similar tab. You do have a view option that we had in Microsoft Word. Developer is something that is probably showing on my screen that will not show on your screen. At this point, what I want to do is I would like to go ahead and enter some information into our document. As I get ready to enter information in, I want to talk for just a second about how the cells are labeled. The cells are each one of these rectangles that you see, and they are labeled by calling it by the intersection of the letter and the number. So this cell here is cell A1. If I click over here, this cell happens to be cell D3. Now, A1 is the cell which I'm going to do some typing in. I'm going to type in client survey. When you're done typing, press the Enter key. I'm going to press the Enter key 2 times. I'm going to zoom in so that you can see what I'm typing a little better. Here in cell A3, we're going to type in client ID with a colon, client ID, pressing the Enter key twice, coming down to cell A5. In cell A5, we're going to type in the first survey question. Was the room comfortable? So we've typed in the first survey question, was the room comfortable, with a question mark, and I press enter. The second question, Were the staff members cordial? Were the staff members cordial? And I'm going to press enter. I hope you're noticing that pressing the enter key moves you down to the next row in the spreadsheet. For cell A7, we're going to type in, did your appointment start on time? Did your appointment start on time? Pressing enter. Were your treatments explained in advance? Were your treatments explained in advance? I press enter, and we're then going to type the same thing again. We're going to do, were your treatments explained in advance? But what we're going to do is, by the time you get to about the middle of you should see that it is pre-filling because it's noticing that I seem to be typing the same thing. And oftentimes in an Excel spreadsheet, it's not unusual to type the same thing more than once. And so what it does is it has this autocomplete feature. And so once you see that it's pre-filled with what you want it to say, you can press the enter key right then, and it will accept the entire thing as what you want to type. So I'm going to press enter, and that will have auto-filled row 9. The last item is on row 10. Were you offered a beverage? Again, the last item for on cell A10. Were you offered a beverage? At this point, I would like you to click on cell E as in Edward, E4, cell E4, and we're going to type the text A, the letter A, space, and then rating. But instead of pressing enter after we type in a rating, what we want to do is press the tab key on the keyboard. And when you press the tab key, you will notice that instead of moving down the spreadsheet, it moves across the spreadsheet. In cell F4, we're going to type in B rating, pressing tab again. I'm going to type in C rating and press enter. Now at this point, we're going to make some changes to our document. We're going to start by changing what is in cell A9. So please click on cell A9. And what I want you to notice is that while the text is displaying down here, I want you to also notice that up here, this is called the formula bar, you will see that the text is also appearing up here. If you want to edit the text, it's easiest if you edit the text in the formula bar. So what I want to do is I'm going to select from the back. So I'm going to select from that question mark all the way back to the word treatments. And I'm going to, on my keyboard now, I'm going to press the delete key a couple times. And I want to go back and get rid of the R of your. So I want it to say, were you, and I'm going to type in a space. I'm going to say relaxed, R-E-L-A-X-E-D. Were you relaxed during the process? Were you relaxed during the process? And I want to end with a question mark. And I'm going to go ahead and press the enter key. So cell A9 says, were you relaxed during the process? Row number 8. So going to cell A8, I want to remove some text. What I want to do is I want to remove the last two words where it says in advance, but I don't want to remove the question mark. So again, I'm going to come up to the formula bar. I'm going to take my mouse and I'm going to select in advance. I'm going to select in advance and I'm going to press the backspace key a couple times. I want to make sure that it now says, were your treatments explained? And the question mark should come immediately following the D. At this point, I'm done editing this piece of text. I can press the Enter key. Now, I want to make a few more changes, and those changes are going to deal with the labeling at the top. Rather than saying A rating, B rating, and C rating, we want to mark a couple of options up here. Let's go ahead and type in the word yes in cell E4. So clicking on cell E4, I type in the word yes and press the Tab key. Notice that completely deleted, even though I did not press the delete key, it deleted the old text and replaced it with the new text. Now I would like you to type in the word in cell F4. We're going to type in the word no and press the Tab key to move across. Now finally, here in cell G4, we want to get rid of this altogether. Now there's a few ways you can do this. The most obvious way is on your keyboard, simply pressing the delete key would get rid of that particular cell. If you want to use the ribbon, there is this option. It looks like this pink eraser. It says clear. I can choose clear all, and it will completely remove the text from that cell. I'm going to select E4 and F4. Those are the words yes and no. I select these two words by pointing at the word yes, dragging to the word no. What I wish to do is I wish to make these items bold. So up on my ribbon, I'm going to click on the B button to make them bold, just as I would have done in Microsoft Word. Next, we're going to insert a header or footer into our document. Headers and footers are very similar to what we've done in the past. And what we're going to do is we're going to click on the Insert tab, just as we would have done in Word. And we're going to go to the header and footer button. Now for me, my screen is a little smaller than yours may be, so I had to use the text button. But here will be my header and footer button. So click on header and footer found on the Insert tab, and you will see that it opens up the header for me to type data in. Now there are some differences between Excel and Word, and one of the things you're going to notice different is that in the header and the footer, it's divided into three parts. The left part is left aligned, the center part is automatically centered, and the right part is automatically right aligned. I'm going to click in this center area, and I'm going to type in my name. Go ahead and you please type in your full name in the header, in the center part of the header. And over on the right hand side, I want to put the date. Now I could type in today's date, but if I did that, it would always say whatever today's date is. It would never change. What I want to do is I want this date to appear as whatever today's date is. Well, you will notice that when we entered the header and footer, we went into the Design tab just like we would have done in Word. But we've got a few different buttons that are available than what we saw in Word, and one of those buttons is the current date. I'm going to click on that, and that's going to put this code in. What this code does is it will automatically print out today's date if I were to print this. I'm now done with the header and footer, so I can now click back in the main part of the document. Once I click in that main part of the document, you will indeed see that this has changed to today's date, whatever that happens to be. Now, you may or may not want the header or footer to display on the screen as you are working in the document. You may have noticed that you now see the margins on the left side, the right side, as well as your header or footer. That's because when we went into the header or footer, our view changed. Please go to your View tab on the ribbon. Please go to View, and you will now see that we are in what's called a page layout view. Where we were before and where I want you to be again is the normal view. If you click on the normal view, that will take us back to the view we had before, which just shows us the cells, does not show us the header or footer, does not show us the margins on the left or the right side. Normal view is where we'll spend most of our time in this document. One of the last things we're going to do with this particular worksheet is we're going to take a look at what it would look like if it were printed out. I do want to call your attention to the lines that you see on the screen right now. And when we go to the File menu, which is where we do our printing, we would click on File and Print. You will see a print preview of what this would look like if it were to be printed out. Notice that those lines that we saw a few minutes ago do not actually print out. Those grid lines are there for you to, as a guide, to be able to know, where to click on various cells, but they don't actually print out unless you want them to. You will see that the headers and footers do print, all right? And if I were actually going to print this, I could use the print button and that would send this to my printer. Other options that are available to me is I can change the orientation just like I did in Word. I can change the paper size, I can modify my margins, and I can even scale my page, which we will get into at a later time and when that is beneficial. At this point, we're not really going to print this document, so we're going to close out of this print preview simply by clicking on the arrow in the top left corner. Let's save this file. I'm going to go to the File menu and do a Save As, File, Save As, and we're going to put this in our Documents folder. And we're going to, as we have in the past, we're going to create a brand new folder with today's date. So I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call it February, and we'll put in 8th here, February 8th. You put in whatever today's date is for you. Double click on that folder. The file name that we're going to give this, so where it says file name, I'm going to type in try. Let me back up. We're going to do E as for Excel. We're not doing W anymore. It's going to be E02. This is actually chapter 2, or excuse me, lesson 2. E02 try. E02 try is the name of the file. I'm going to save that file. Once I do, I am done with this particular file. So we can close this file by going up to the File menu and closing out. And we are now ready to begin Lesson 3. Next part of our lesson, I'm going to go ahead and close Excel. And I'm going to go to the book. And in the book, I want to turn to a specific page. We've done this in Microsoft Word before. The page we're going to turn to is page 363, 363. And that will give us the ability then to open the Excel file from here. Now, if you're having difficulty getting the book open, or maybe you're watching this and you don't have access to the book, assuming you have access to the files, you can access the files as well. In class, I'm going to minimize the book for just a moment. If you go to the Class Files folder, double click on Class Files, IIT, Excel, we are currently in Chapter 1, and the file that we're going to open is this E03 try file. Double clicking on E03 try will open up this file. Now at this point we need to save this file to our folder with today's date. So let's go to File, Save As. You will probably see the folder with today's date in your list somewhere. go ahead and click on that folder with today's date, and we're going to modify this file and add your initials to the file. So I'm going to add in my initials to the end of this file, E03 try with your initials, and click Save. And here we have a partially created spreadsheet for us. We're going to click on cell A12. We're going to type a little bit more information in here. And so here in cell A12, I'm going to type in the word roll, R-O-L-L. Press the Tab key. I wish to go across as I'm doing my entering here. And we're going to type in the word spelt, S-P-E-L-T. Apparently that's a type of flour, S-P-E-L-T, spelt. And the quantity is 8, tabbing across. The price per roll is 35 cents. So I'm going to type in 0.35 and press Tab. Now notice in our spreadsheet that after you've typed in the 0.35, that the value is calculated where it has multiplied the quantity times the price to giving us the total amount here. I'm going to go to cell A13 and type in OAT, O-A-T. Oops, my bad. Let's type in mini roll. In cell A13, type in mini roll. Cell B13 is going to be OAT. Pressing the Tab key again, we're going to type in 24, Tab again, and the amount is going to be 20 cents, 0.20, and Tab. And that will again calculate the amount as we were looking for. Now, we do want to make a couple changes to some of the items that are already pre-typed. All right, specifically, we're going to go to cell D8. Cell D8, in which there is a 95-cent price tag in there. We're going to change that to $1.15. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in 1.15. Notice I did not type in the dollar sign, and when we press the Tab key, it will recalculate the amount at $1.15, and it puts the dollar sign in. That's a part of formatting that we will deal with at a later time. The next change we're going to make is to cell C10. Cell C10, which it currently has the value of 24 typed in. That has been mistyped. We'd like it to actually say 8. So I'm going to type in 8 and press the Enter key. And notice again that the value for that row 10 has been recalculated. All right, we're going to enter another item in here. So I'm going to go to cell A14, and we're going to type in panini. Now you may notice the panini already exists in the column. So when I type in PAN, notice that it pre-fills. We've talked about this a second ago. This is called AutoComplete. And so rather than having to finish typing it out, I want to accept it as is. So on my keyboard, I'm going to press the Tab key to accept panini. And here I'm going to type in the wheat, W-H-E, and again, it'll pre-fill the A-T. I'm going to press the Tab key. And the panini wheat is going to be, we have 8 of those, quantity of 8. Tabbing across, 0.70 is the price for the panini wheat piece of bread. So I press the Tab key, and it does calculate that out. Now, although I don't expect anybody to really use this, I just want to demonstrate a feature that is available. If you have already pre-typed something in, you don't even have to type the first few letters. If it's in the column you're in, all you have to do is right-click the cell, pick from drop-down list, Notice you will see a list of all the items that have been typed in this column. Now in this case, we're going to choose roll. Going to the next cell, B15, again I'm going to right click, pick from drop down list, and we're going to choose white. The quantity is going to be 36. I'm just going to type it in. It's faster that way. And in cell D15, I'm going to type in the price of 0.23, 23 cents, and press tab. Finally, we're going to go to cell A16 and we're going to type in cafe, C-A-F-E, space, biscotti, B-I-S-C-O-T-T-I, cafe biscotti. Now notice when you tab off of that, Excel automatically put this little apostrophe looking thing, the accent mark, above the E of cafe. That's because there's an autocorrect setting that automatically fixes it because technically cafe should have that special little symbol above it. All right, for flour, we're going to type in oat. Tabbing across, we're going to have 92 of these, and the price on these is 28 cents, 0.28, and that will enter our data entry as it relates to the different types of rolls we're going to be using. The final thing we're going to do for this particular spreadsheet is correct the spelling. If we go to the Review tab, click on Review, here you will see the spell checker. If you click on that spell checker, it will look through the document for potential misspellings. Because I was at the bottom of the document, it's telling me, do you want to continue from the beginning? That's fine. Say yes. And it will indeed find a quantity misspelling. All right. So with the correct spelling selected, I'm going to change this incorrect spelling for the correct spelling. It then finds that I have misspelled the word panini. All right, I put two N's in when there should only be one. So I'm going to go ahead and correct this as well. Because I know it's in more than one place, I'm going to choose Change All. That does tell me that I'm done with my spell check. I'm going to click OK. This brings me to the close of this file, so I want to save my work. I'm going to click the Save button, or we could do File, Save, and that will save our file and wrap us up with Lesson 3. Today we introduced you some to the basics of Microsoft Excel and entering data. We looked at clearing cell contents by deleting them out. We've took a look at the built-in header and footer, specifically the header. We've entered numbers into the cells. We've edited cells. We auto-completed the cells. We showed you the pick list feature. And then finally, we checked the spelling of our document.